Close your eyes and let us wander back into the heart of ancient Rome, where temples stood tall beneath starlit skies, and the whispers of countless gods drifted across the marble streets. In those days, faith was not just a belief, it was the rhythm of life, the breath of empires, and the fire within countless sacred wars. Tonight, we will not walk as warriors, but as dreamers. We will float upon the soft winds of history, tracing how Rome's soul wrestled with new cults, foreign mysteries, and the eternal question of which gods would guide its people. In this story, there is no battle to fear, only gentle echoes of the past, flowing like a lullaby through the centuries. If this story brings you peace, let us know where you're listening from. And if these journeys help you rest, consider subscribing, so together we may drift through many more sacred histories beneath the stars. The night is quiet. The world around you is still. And slowly, like a dream unfolding, the city of ancient Rome awakens before your resting eyes. It is not the Rome of noise, of crowds, or of marching legions. It is Rome in its gentlest form, bathed in the pale silver of dawn, touched by a cool breeze that carries the scent of laurel and cypress. The streets are empty, the stones damp with the night's dew. Above, the sky stretches wide, soft, and glowing with the fading stars of midnight. Here, the gods are never far. They linger in every shadow, in every flame, in every whisper of the morning wind. Jupiter, king of the heavens, watches from the highest point of the sky. Venus, gentle star of love, still glimmers in the east as the light of day begins to spread. And Mars, strong and silent, lingers with the patience of the warrior, guarding Rome as it stirs awake. Beneath their watchful eyes, the city is not just stone and marble. It is alive. Every wall, every fountain, every olive tree has its own spirit, its own quiet breath of divinity. This is the Roman way, where the divine does not live only in temples, but in the very heart of daily life. In the first blush of dawn, a soft sound echoes through the narrow streets. A wooden door opens, and a family steps into the courtyard of their domus. They carry no weapons, no burden of trade, only a small bowl filled with oil and herbs. Before them, in the center of the courtyard, stands the lararium, the household shrine. Small figurines rest upon it, worn by time and touch. These are the Lares, the guardians of the home. A gentle flame is lit. It flickers in the soft morning air, painting the family's faces with golden light. Whispers of prayer rise into the silence. They are not grand words, not the language of priests or poets. They are simple, soft, and full of love. Protect us, guard our food, keep our children safe. As the smoke drifts upward, it carries the prayer to the gods of the home. In Rome, every family is a temple, and every household keeps its fire alive. The Lares listen. The Penates, the spirits of the pantry, keep the bread safe from hunger. And the Genius, the spirit of life itself, breathes quietly within each soul like a hidden flame. Outside, the city slowly stirs. At the great forum, shadows still lie across the marble columns. The temples wait, grand and silent. There stands the temple of Jupiter Optimus Maximus, high upon the Capitoline Hill, its steps worn smooth by centuries of devotion. Here, the people gather on holy days, lifting their eyes to the sky, calling upon the Thunderer, the King of Gods, the protector of Rome. Close by is the temple of Venus, goddess of beauty and love. Her statues shine with offerings of flowers, of polished shells, of coins that glimmer like starlight. Her presence is gentle, like the fragrance of roses drifting through the morning air. And beyond, upon the field of Mars, the god of war holds his silent ground. Mars does not speak in whispers. He speaks in the stillness before battle, in the strength of the soldier, in the beating heart of Rome itself. Even in times of peace, his presence gives courage. He is not only the god of war, but also the protector of crops, the guardian of fields, the force that keeps life strong. The sky brightens. Birdsong fills the air. The Tiber River flows gently, carrying with it the secrets of ages. Its waters glisten with the first light of day. For the Romans, the river is more than water. It is sacred, a gift of the gods, a living path that nourishes the land and carries prayers to the sea. Along its banks, small shrines stand, humble stones dedicated to river gods, nymphs, and spirits unseen. A fisherman casts his net, but before he does, he whispers to the water. It is a soft promise, respect in exchange for bounty. Such is the Roman way. Every act, even the simplest, carries a thread of prayer. As the city awakens fully, the hum of daily life grows louder. Markets begin to stir, filled with the fragrance of olives, herbs, and baked bread. Merchants arrange their stalls, but not before giving thanks to Mercury, god of trade, swift messenger of the gods. His statues, often small and unassuming, stand at crossroads, marked with wings upon his cap and staff. Travelers whisper to him before setting out, asking for safe passage, for fortune on the road. In the fields beyond the walls, farmers bow their heads to Ceres, the goddess of grain. She is the mother of harvest, the one who blesses the seeds, the rains, and the golden stalks that rise with the sun. Her temples are filled with offerings of wheat, honey, and milk. For without her, Rome's people could not be fed. Every corner of Rome, every pathway of stone, carries with it a god, a goddess, a guardian. There are gods of the hearth, gods of the doorways, gods of the crossroads, gods of the forests. Some are mighty, others are quiet. But none are forgotten. To live in Rome is to walk always in the company of the divine. Even the smallest child knows the sacred stories. They hear them from their mothers, from their fathers, from the priests at the temple, from the songs of poets. They know of Jupiter's thunderbolts, of Neptune's waves, of Pluto's silent underworld where souls drift beyond life. They know of Minerva, goddess of wisdom, who guides the mind and hand of every artist and craftsman. They know of Diana, who walks through the forests at night, her silver bow gleaming beneath the moon. Each god, each goddess, is like a star in the Roman sky. Together, they form a great constellation of faith. As day unfolds, the temples fill with quiet footsteps. Priests in flowing robes carry incense. Musicians play gentle hymns on pipes and lyres. Offerings are laid upon the altars, wine poured slowly, fruits carefully placed, garlands draped with reverence. The smoke of sacrifice rises, curling like a bridge between earth and heaven. The gods are fed, and in turn, they feed the city with blessings unseen. At times, processions move through the streets, solemn and grand. Statues of gods are carried on wooden platforms, adorned with flowers and jewels. The people follow, chanting prayers, their voices soft yet steady. These are not shouts of war, but murmurs of devotion. The air is filled with harmony, as if the whole city breathes as one. And when evening comes, a hush falls once more. The sun sinks behind the hills, painting the sky in colors of amber and rose. The streets grow quiet. In the courtyards, the fires are lit again. The Lares, the guardians of each home, receive their nightly offerings. Tiny flames glow in the darkness, like stars fallen to earth. Above, the heavens open wide. The constellations appear, Orion the hunter, Cassiopeia the queen, and countless more. But to the Romans, they are not just stars. They are reminders of the gods' eternal presence. Jupiter's throne in the high heavens, Venus shining as the evening star, Mars burning with a warrior's flame. The city rests, wrapped in the cloak of night. And through it all, the gods remain watchful, timeless, eternal. To drift beneath the Roman sky of many gods is to feel the world alive with spirit. Every shadow holds a presence. Every breeze carries a whisper. Every flame flickers with the breath of the divine. The people of Rome, in their prayers and rituals, lived not apart from the gods but beside them. They saw no boundary between heaven and earth, only a veil of mystery, woven with stars and dreams. To them, life was sacred, every moment a chance to honor the unseen. And as you rest now, listening to these gentle echoes of the past, you too are beneath that sky. You too may feel the quiet company of countless spirits, countless guardians, countless gods. They do not ask for fear. They ask only for presence, for remembrance, for a heart open to wonder. Now let the story soften. Let the marble temples fade into mist. Let the Tiber's waters grow still. The fires of the Lares dim. But do not vanish. They burn softly, like the glow of your own breath as you drift toward sleep. You are safe beneath this sky. You are at rest beneath these stars. The gods are near, the night is calm, and the spirit of Rome whispers only peace. So let us drift onward. Let the next dream arrive gently, like the rising moon. Now rest as the stars return, under the Roman sky of many gods. The night drifts into silence once more. The stars are fading, yet the city still rests in a tender twilight. Stone walls glimmer faintly, kissed by the first brush of dawn. And at the heart of Rome, a single flame burns without end. This is no ordinary fire. It does not rise from hearth or market stall. It belongs to the goddess Vesta. It is her sacred fire, glowing deep within her round temple. Its warmth is steady. Its light is eternal. To Rome, it is the very breath of life. The temple stands gentle and circular, unlike the tall triangles of other shrines. It is simple, pure, and strong, with a roof open to the sky. Through that circle above, sunlight and moonlight fall directly upon the flame. No statue of Vesta watches here, for she needs no form. Her spirit is the fire itself. To look upon it is to look upon her. Around the flame, the air is quiet. No crowd gathers, no traitor shouts. Instead, there is a hush, like the pause before a prayer. And in this quiet space move the Vestal virgins. They are chosen young, daughters of noble families. Their path is set apart from all others. For 30 years, they serve Vesta, giving their lives to guard her fire. Their white robes flow softly as they walk. Their veils shimmer in the glow. They move with slow grace, their steps like ripples across a still pond. Each morning, one rises before the city stirs. She tends the flame, feeding it with sacred wood. The smoke curls upward, carrying her whispered prayer. She bows her head, not in fear, but in devotion, knowing that Rome's heartbeat rests within this light. The fire is more than warmth. It is Rome's soul. As long as it burns, the city is alive, protected and blessed. If it were to go out, it would mean disaster, a sign that the favor of the gods had faded. And so the Vestals guard it with a devotion deeper than sleep, deeper than rest. Through storm and silence, through festival and famine, the fire is kept, never broken. The people of Rome know this. They walk past the temple and feel comfort, knowing the virgins are inside, watching, praying, keeping the light steady. Mothers tell their children, as long as Vesta's flame burns, Rome will endure. And so the city sleeps easier, beneath the watch of the eternal fire. The duties of the Vestals are quiet, yet filled with care. They prepare sacred offerings. They gather water from pure springs, carried in vessels of clay. They bake the holy cakes, kneading the flour of Ceres, mixing it with salt, shaping it with calm hands. These are laid upon the altars in silence, gifts for the goddess whose flame never dies. They are guardians of purity, symbols of harmony. No other women in Rome carry such honor. Their voices can calm disputes. Their presence can stop an execution. When they pass, the crowd falls silent, for they are seen as living bridges between earth and the divine. The fire itself whispers stories. It tells of beginnings, of the first hearths, of families gathered in circles, of warmth against the cold. It is the memory of every meal, every prayer, every night where children listen to their elders by firelight. The flame is small, yet endless. It connects past to present, home to city, mortal to God. In its glow, time seems to slow. The crackle of burning wood is like a lullaby, steady and soft. The smoke curls like gentle fingers, rising upward, disappearing into the round hole above, joining the sky. Each spark is a prayer, a tiny light drifting to the heavens. At festivals, the flame is honored with greater joy. During the days of Perilia, when shepherds bless their flocks, the Vestals bring forth the ashes from the sacred fire. Mixed with the blood of sacrifice, they are scattered, protecting fields and animals alike. And at the great festival of Vesta, every door in Rome swings open. Families air their homes, sweep their hearths, and carry offerings of food to the goddess. The streets fill with garlands, laughter, and gentle prayers. Through it all, the eternal fire glows, watching silently, steady as ever. There are tales that drift around the Vestals, told in hushed tones beneath lamplight. It is said that when one of them walked, escorted by guards, even the fiercest soldier lowered his eyes. For the Vestal carried with her not only her own spirit, but the life of the flame. She was Rome's living symbol, as sacred as the fire she served. It is also told that should a condemned man cross her path by chance, his punishment would be lifted, his life spared. Such was the power of the Vestal's presence, her purity so bright it could wash away the shadow of death. Yet their lives were not without weight. They could not marry, could not raise children, could not walk freely as others did. Their entire being belonged to Vesta and to Rome. And if the flame ever went out under their care, punishment was severe, for it was seen as a wound to the heart of the city. Still, they carried their duty with quiet strength. They did not complain. Their hands, gentle and steady, placed wood upon the fire again and again, year after year. Their prayers, soft and endless, joined the rhythm of the flame. Together, they created a silence more powerful than any army. Imagine now, as you lie resting, that you stand within the temple. The walls are cool stone, the air filled with the scent of burning cedar. The fire glows before you, alive, steady, warm. You hear the soft footsteps of the Vestals, their robes brushing gently against the floor. You hear their whispers, like a hymn too quiet to disturb the night. You breathe in, and the smoke carries you deeper into calm. You breathe out, and the fire steadies, never fading, never dimming. The flame becomes your heartbeat. The flame becomes your breath. The flame becomes your dream. Night returns once more. The city outside falls into shadow. But within the round temple, the fire glows on, untiring, eternal. Its light spills softly across the floor, painting the stone with golden warmth. The Vestals watch in silence, their faces calm, their eyes reflecting the glow. To Rome, the fire is protection. To the Vestals, it is devotion. To the listener, to the dreamer, it is peace. The flame of Vesta reminds all that life is fragile, yet guarded. That warmth may fade, yet be renewed. That the smallest light can hold the strength of an empire. And so under the Roman sky, the fire never sleeps. It glows through storm, through silence, through centuries. It is the breath of the city, the sigh of the goddess, the soft pulse of eternity. As you drift now, let the fire guard your rest as it guarded Rome. Let its warmth soften your dreams. Let its light ease your heart. The sacred fire burns on. It does not falter. It does not fade. It glows within you now, steady, eternal, safe. And with its gentle glow, the story closes, like embers settling into ash. The temple grows dim. The Vestals bow their heads, and the fire hums softly like a lullaby, carrying you deeper into sleep. Let us drift onward. Let the sacred fire remain. And now rest as the stars return within the calm of Vesta's eternal flame. The night is still. Above the marble roofs of Rome, the sky glows with quiet starlight. The streets are hushed, their stones carrying only the memory of footsteps long gone. A gentle wind moves between the columns, carrying scents of oil, of bread, of incense still fatting from the evening's prayers. In this silence, the heart of the empire does not sleep. For Rome was never only marble and iron. It was a vessel. And into this vessel, from every shore touched by its ships, came voices of many lands. Soft voices, prayers, songs, and mysteries. Whispers of foreign faiths, carried across seas and deserts, resting now within the Roman soul. The first of these whispers came on the breath of the Nile. Far to the south, where waters shone with golden light, lived the worship of Isis, the great mother of Egypt. Her story was one of love, loss, and renewal. It was said she searched the earth for the broken pieces of her beloved Osiris. She gathered him piece by piece, with patience deeper than sorrow. And from her tears, life bloomed again. When her worship reached Rome, it was carried not with armies, but with sailors and traders. Her temples rose near the river, where ships came heavy with grain. There, Roman hearts learned of her tender power. They lit lamps in her honor. They listened to hymns sung in soft Egyptian tones, words that promised comfort, renewal, and eternal care. At night, when the streets grew still, the faithful gathered. They dressed in white, carrying sacred vessels. They sang by candlelight, their voices low and flowing like water. For them, Isis was more than a goddess. She was a mother, an embrace, a gentle light in the long shadows of empire. Her presence became like a secret star, a star hidden in the Roman night, guiding those who sought peace in her story. Another whisper drifted from the east, where mountains met endless skies. It came in the name of Mithras, the radiant one. His mysteries were not sung beneath the open air, but hidden deep underground. Caves became his temples. There the flicker of torches cast shapes upon the stone, and silence was guarded. Mithras was a god of strength, of courage, of loyalty. He was pictured in eternal struggle, offering sacrifice that bound the earth to the heavens. For soldiers weary from war, his story was a bond. It told them they were not alone. It told them their courage had meaning, even in darkness. When Roman legions returned from distant lands, they carried his mysteries home. They built small temples below the earth, hidden from the bustle of streets. Only those initiated could enter. Inside, they shared sacred meals, bread and drink in quiet fellowship. They lit fires that never fully died, flames that glowed like the strength of their brotherhood. Mithras, the secret light, gave comfort to those who lived far from their families. He was a whisper of the East, carried into the heart of Rome, where it echoed in silence. There were other whispers too. From far-off Persia came dreams of eternal struggle between light and darkness. From Judea came the steady rhythm of one God, unseen yet near, whose people carried his promise with faith and longing. From the hills of Gaul and the islands of Britain came voices of trees, rivers, and ancient spirits, each telling their quiet truths. Rome listened. Rome absorbed. For every empire is also a river, and into its waters flow countless streams, each adding their own taste, their own song. In the great markets of the city, one could hear these whispers mixing like perfumes. Merchants from Alexandria, priests from Syria, wanderers from lands beyond the desert. They brought not only goods but sacred symbols, small statues, carved amulets, folded scrolls, sacred songs. Some were tucked into pockets, kept close to the heart. Some were worn around the neck, Some were shared with neighbors in secret, passed like seeds from hand to hand. Imagine standing there, in the Roman market at dusk. The air warm, filled with scents of spice and smoke. You hear a seller speak of Isis, her love and her tears. Nearby, a soldier leans close to his friend, whispering of Mithras, of hidden caves and sacred meals. Further still, a traveler sings a hymn from his homeland, soft and strange, but beautiful in its strangeness. The market hums not only with trade, but with faith. It is a place where gods meet in the hearts of people. And yet, with whispers come questions. For every new voice was both wonder and mystery. Some welcomed these faiths with open hands, grateful for comfort. Some watched with quiet unease, unsure if the old gods were fatting. But in the soft hours of night, these concerns grew quiet. The whispers remained, gentle and unbroken, like a chorus of distant birds. For faith is not always loud. Sometimes it comes softly, as a comfort. Sometimes it is no more than a story shared in trust, or a song sung to the stars. In time, these whispers shaped the city itself. Temples rose not only to Jupiter and Mars, but also to Isis, to Cybele, to Mithras. Each temple became a lantern, casting its own glow upon the night. Some glowed with music and processions, their lights visible from far away. Others glowed only in secret, hidden beneath the earth, where a small fire warmed the faithful. And so Rome became not only a city of stone, but a city of voices. A place where many paths met. A place where faith was woven together, thread by thread, into a vast tapestry of the human heart. Let us walk slowly through this tapestry now. Imagine the temple of Isis at dawn. The air is cool, filled with the sound of doves. Priestesses wash the steps with water drawn from the Tiber. Candles glow within, their flames small yet steady. You feel the hush of devotion, the peace of her eternal care. Now drift downward, into the hidden cave of Mithras. The stone is cool, the air heavy with the scent of smoke. Flickering torches reveal painted stars upon the walls. The faithful sit in silence, sharing bread, sharing wine, their brotherhood a quiet circle of warmth. Now walk the streets, where small shrines wait at every corner. Tiny lamps burn, left by strangers who seek protection for their children, for their journeys, for their dreams. Each lamp a prayer, each prayer a whisper. In this way, Rome listened to the world. And the world answered. Not with thunder, not with storms, but with gentle voices, each carrying its own story of hope. For the people of that time, faith was not only in temples of stone. It was in the air, in the fire, in the water. It was in the whispers they carried, close to their hearts, even as they drifted to sleep at night. So let us linger here, in this moment of many voices. The Roman night is calm. The stars above are steady. In every corner of the city, someone is whispering a prayer. A mother sings softly to her child, calling on Isis to bless his dreams. A soldier, alone in a foreign land, recalls the hidden cave of Mithras and feels less alone. A traveler looks up at the same moon he saw in his homeland, believing the gods of his people see him still. The empire breathes with these whispers. They move like wind through olive branches. They glow like coals beneath the ashes. They are gentle and they endure. Now let your mind rest with them. Let the voices grow softer, like a river fatting into distance. There is no need to hold them tightly. They will remain flowing on, guiding hearts across the ages. The night deepens. The temples sleep. The lamps still glow. The stars still listen. And you too may rest, carried by these whispers of faith, safe within their gentle tide. Let us drift onward now. The voices will continue, soft and eternal, even as your eyes grow heavy. Now rest as the stars return, and the whispers fade into dream. The night settles over the vineyards. Rows of vines stand silent, their leaves silvered by the moon. The air is gentle, carrying the scent of ripened grapes, sweet and deep, as though the earth itself is breathing in calm rhythm. Between the twisting trunks, shadows stretch, long and quiet, touched by starlight. The city of Rome sleeps beyond the hills, but here, in this softer place, another story waits. It is a story of music and mystery, of voices that rise and fall beneath the night sky. It is the story of Bacchus, the god of wine, of freedom, of wild and untamed joy. And in his worship, Rome heard both comfort and fear, both release and unease. Bacchus, also called Dionysus by the Greeks, was born of both divine light and human sorrow. His myths told of journeys across the seas, where vines grew from his footsteps, curling up masts and sails. He was said to carry a cup that never emptied, a gift of wine that loosened the heart and softened pain. His face was sometimes shown calm, youthful, radiant. Other times it was wild, crowned with ivy, his eyes bright with something deeper than reason. To his followers, Bacchus was more than a god. He was a doorway. Through him, they stepped beyond the weight of the world. They entered a space where sorrow melted, where laughter flowed, where the soul could dance without chains. On certain nights, beneath the pale glow of the moon, his worshippers gathered. They met not in grand temples, but in hidden groves, in fields, and in vineyards. There the air filled with the sound of flutes and the soft beat of drums. Torches flickered, casting circles of trembling gold upon the vines. Men and women lifted their voices together, singing hymns that wove with the night wind. Their dances began slowly, like ripples upon still water. Feet brushed the earth, hands lifted to the stars. But as the night deepened, the rhythm grew stronger. The air seemed to pulse with unseen life. Every movement became a prayer, every song a release. To dance for Bacchus was to surrender, to let go of the rigid walls of the day, to find freedom in the rhythm of the earth itself. The Romans watched. Some feared these rites, hidden in the shadows, beyond the ordered streets of the city. For Bacchus called not for silence, but for ecstasy. Not for restraint, but for the dissolving of barriers. And in a city built on law and discipline, such abandon was unsettling. Yet for those who joined, the experience was gentle and profound. It was not only wildness, it was communion. It was the feeling of being one with the earth, one with the sky, one with the unseen currents of life. Wine was the vessel, but the true intoxication came from the sense of belonging, of being carried by something larger than oneself. The cult of Bacchus was more than celebration. It was also healing. For in the songs and the dances, sorrows were poured out like water into the soil. Grief was lifted, fear was forgotten, loneliness dissolved into shared laughter. Imagine the circle of worshippers, their faces lit by torchlight, their voices rising together. One carries a branch of ivy, its leaves whispering in the fire's glow. Another beats a small drum, steady and soft, like the heart's own rhythm. Another holds a cup of wine, passing it gently from hand to hand, each sip a bond, each bond a prayer. Around them, the vineyards stand tall, their grapes heavy, their roots deep. The earth listens. The night listens. And Bacchus, the god of release, watches with quiet eyes. The Romans told stories of him that were half fear, half wonder. They spoke of Maenads, women said to be carried away by his spirit, their hair loose, their voices echoing through the hills. They spoke of satyrs, half men, half spirits, who danced in endless mirth at his side. These images, wild and strange, carried both fascination and caution. For where Bacchus was, the rules of the day no longer held. But behind these tales of frenzy lay something gentler. A longing for freedom. A yearning to step beyond burdens, if only for a night. a reminder that even in the heart of an empire, the soul still seeks the song of the earth, the laughter of the stars, the embrace of joy. Over time, Rome tried to shape these rites, to guide them into safer paths. Temples were built, festivals declared, parades of wine and ivy marched through the streets. Yet the true heart of Bacchus remained in the hidden places. Not in marble halls, but in moonlit vineyards. Not in decrees, but in the quiet joining of voices, the circle of dancers under the open sky. There Bacchus remained eternal, not as chaos, but as release. Not as danger, but as the gentle truth that the soul needs moments of joy to live. Let us walk slowly through one of these nights. The moon is full, pouring silver light across the vines. Torches glow, their flames soft against the darkness. You hear the faint sound of a flute, a melody that drifts like smoke upon the air. It is a song that rises and falls, a song without end, carried by breath alone. The dancers step in time, their feet brushing the earth with care. Their hands lift ivy crowns to the stars. Their laughter is not loud, but warm, like ripples across still water. The circle widens, then closes again, like a tide moving in gentle rhythm. In this place, time dissolves. The worries of the day fall away. There is only the night, the song, the soft light of Bacchus. For the Romans who joined these rites, there was always a return. After the dances, after the wine, after the songs, the night grew quiet again. The torches burned lower. The vines rustled with the cool breath of dawn. And slowly, gently, the worshippers stepped back into the world of day. But something remained within them. A stillness, a lightness, a memory of belonging, of joy that could not be broken by the weight of laws or sorrow. This was the true gift of Bacchus. Not endless frenzy, but the reminder that life itself is sacred and joy is a prayer. The cult of Bacchus was not only about wine. It was about the vine itself. The way it grows, twisting upward, reaching for light. The way its roots cling deep into the soil, drinking strength from hidden waters. The way its fruit ripens slowly, patiently, until it bursts with sweetness. So too the human soul. It reaches upward for life. It roots itself in memory and earth. And when nurtured with care, it ripens into joy, ready to be shared. Now the vineyards are still again. The moon has drifted westward. The songs are only echoes, carried on the soft wind. But the spirit of Bacchus lingers like dew upon the leaves, like a memory within the heart. The Romans, wary though they were, could not silence his whisper. For it was the whisper of life itself, reminding them that even within order, joy must have its place. And in that joy, the soul finds peace. Let the night deepen now. Let the torches fade. The vineyards sleep, their roots resting in the earth, their leaves folded into the dark. The songs are gone, but the peace remains. The story of Bacchus does not end with noise, but with quiet, with the soft rhythm of the heart, with the gentle release of breath. So let us drift onward, carried by his whisper. Let us rest beneath the silver sky, knowing that joy and peace are never far apart. Now close your thoughts as the night closes its arms. Now rest as the stars return and the vineyards dream in silence. The dawn has not yet broken. Rome lies wrapped in the quiet of its own breath. Streets of stone sleep beneath the stars, their arches and columns dimly lit by fading torches. The Tiber flows like a ribbon of silver, carrying the dreams of the city toward the sea. In this stillness, the Senate waits, not with swords or shields, not with the cries of soldiers, but with parchment, seals, and words. Their power is quieter, but no less strong. Here, in the heart of Rome, wars were fought not with armies, but with decrees. Wars of faith, of trust, of which voices would be heard and which silenced. The Senate chamber stood tall, its marble steps cold in the night air. Inside, shadows lay heavy, like curtains drawn across the minds of those who gathered there. Columns reached high, steady and unmoving, as though they too were guardians of order. The space was hushed, yet full of echoes of debate, of voices rising and falling like waves against stone. There was no clash of swords here, no spilling of blood, only the steady carving of laws, shaped carefully, silently, like chisels upon marble. And yet those laws could decide the life or death of entire ways of worship. They could raise a god's name to the open air, or bury it beneath shadows. The senators spoke often of the unity of Rome. They believed the empire was like a great fabric, woven from many threads. If one thread pulled too sharply, it might unravel the whole. So they watched with cautious eyes the new cults that drifted into the city, carried by traders, soldiers, and slaves. Some were welcomed, their symbols folded gently into Rome's embrace. Others were questioned, doubted, and cast aside. It was not always the gods themselves that troubled the Senate, but the gatherings of people, the hidden rituals, the fear of voices whispered in secret. Imagine the scene. A senator rises, his robe flowing softly around him. He speaks of Bacchus, of hidden rites carried out under the moon. He speaks of music that swells beyond reason, of women and men dancing in ecstasy beyond the city's control. His words ripple through the chamber, heavy with caution. Another rises in answer. He speaks not of fear, but of freedom, of the joy that Bacchus brings, the healing that laughter and song can carry. His words are calmer, like a stream winding through hills, asking not to be stopped. The chamber listens. Some nod in agreement, others fold their hands in doubt. The decision will not be of swords, but of scrolls signed and sealed. And yet the outcome will shape the lives of thousands. So the Senate fought its silent wars. It was not a battle for land, but for the soul of Rome. Each decree, each decision, became a blade unseen, cutting away or weaving together the faiths of its people. There was a decree to honor Jupiter, great king of gods, whose temple shone above the forum. There was a decree to limit the Bacchic rites, to restrain their gatherings, to quiet their voices beneath the night sky. There were decisions to watch the followers of Isis from Egypt, whose prayers rose with incense, and whose mysteries carried secrets Rome did not yet understand. Each choice was like the turning of a wheel, slow but certain, steering the path of the empire. The senators themselves carried a weight like stone upon their shoulders. For every law shaped, every cult judged, was not just about gods, but about power, about trust, about the fragile balance of the city. Rome was vast, a sea of many peoples, many traditions, many songs. Too much freedom, and the sea could rise into storm. Too little, and it could dry into dust. So they moved carefully, as though walking a narrow bridge in twilight. Every word spoken was measured. Every silence was just as heavy. Think of how the city felt these choices. A family lighting lamps for their household gods, wondering if tomorrow those gods would still be safe. A priest tending a shrine, his heart steady, though whispers reached him that the Senate questioned his rights. A group of travelers gathered by the river, their foreign songs rising into the night, unsure if Rome would allow them space to sing again. All of them were touched, though they did not sit in the marble hall. The Senate's words flowed outward like invisible rivers, shaping the ground beneath every home, every temple, every prayer. There was a strange kind of quiet war in this. No trumpets sounded, no banners waved, yet entire beliefs could be lifted high into sunlight or hidden in shadow by the stroke of a pen. And though these wars left no bodies upon the field, they left marks in memory, in silence, in the way people prayed with half-whispered voices, afraid of being heard. But even in this quiet, faith found ways to live. The human heart, like water, always seeks a path. If one stream is blocked, another finds its way around stone. So too did the cults and the prayers. Some bent and adapted, joining hands with Roman gods, blending names and symbols. Others hid in shadows, speaking their songs only in the safety of night. In this way, Rome did not silence them completely. It shaped them, guided them, pressed them into new forms, but still they endured. There is a lesson in this silence, that even without sword or spear, power can weigh heavily. And yet, even beneath the heaviest weight, the spirit of worship breathes. Like a candle in still air, small but steady, it continues to shine. The Senate's wars may have seemed calm on the surface, but beneath, the currents of belief moved, gentle and unstoppable. And in their movement, Rome was changed forever. Now the Senate chamber grows quiet again. The torches burn low, their flames flickering like tired eyes. The senators leave, their footsteps echoing against marble floors. The hall empties, but the silence remains, heavy and thoughtful like mist before dawn. Outside, the city stirs. Families tend their altars, pouring small drops of wine for the Lares, their household spirits. Priests prepare for morning prayers, their voices soft as the first light begins to touch the rooftops. The river flows on, untroubled, eternal. And above it all, the sky begins to pale, the stars fading into the embrace of day. The Senate's silent wars will continue. Decrees will rise, others will fall. Some cults will fade into memory, others will weave themselves into Rome's heart. But always, the city will be full of prayer, full of song, full of the quiet breath of faith that no law can truly silence. So let the listener rest in this truth, that even in silence, spirit endures. Even in shadow, light lingers. Even in the weight of law, the soul finds its path. Now the chamber is still. The torches fade. The marble stands unmoved. The stars are gone, replaced by morning's gentle glow. Let us drift onward, leaving behind the echo of voices, the hush of hidden wars. Let the heart rest, calm as stone, light as air. Now rest, as the stars return in memory, and the city of Rome dreams once more. Night has returned to the empire. The streets of Rome lie hushed beneath the stars. Shadows pool beneath arches and colonnades, while the soft ripple of the Tiber carries moonlight like silver dust. Somewhere beyond the quiet squares and the dimly burning lamps, there are doors that lead downward, doors to hidden places, carved beneath the earth. These are the caves of Mithras, silent from above, yet glowing within. A world apart from the noise of the city. A world where soldiers, travelers, and seekers of light gathered in secret, bound by oaths, bound by trust. Here in the deep calm of stone, the mysteries of the sun god unfolded. The chamber is small, narrow like a passageway. Walls press close, painted with fading images of stars and fire. Torches glow softly, their flames bending in the still air, casting gold across rough stone. The smell of smoke mingles with the faint scent of oil and earth. Every detail is hushed, every sound softened, as though the world above has been left behind. At the center of the room stands the image of Mithras. He is shown in the eternal act, slaying the great bull of heaven. His arm is steady, his gaze calm, his strength held in quiet control. From the blood of the bull, it is said, life flows forth. The fields gain fertility, the seasons their rhythm, and the stars their course across the sky. The men gather here, cloaked in silence. They come as brothers, though their lives above the earth may be different. Some are soldiers, hardened by marches and battles. Some are merchants, carrying the dust of distant lands. Some are servants, their names unknown in the daylight of Rome. But in this hidden place, they are equal. They share the same bread, the same vow, the same light of Mithras. Their rituals are quiet. Words are spoken softly, almost like a prayer carried on the breath. Hands are laid on shoulders, a bond of trust formed in the dim glow of the torches. Here, secrecy is not a wall, but a shelter. The mysteries are not shouted, but whispered, like secrets the soul keeps close. Mithras was the sun god, the bringer of light through darkness. To follow him was to believe that light could pierce even the deepest cave. His followers saw in him the promise of strength, the promise of endurance, the promise that even the hardest night would give way to dawn. For the soldier, far from home, Mithras was the warmth of the rising sun after a long march. For the traveler, Mithras was the guiding star through unknown lands. For the weary, Mithras was the steady flame, never extinguished. It is said the journey of the Mithraic brother was like a passage through stars. There were grades, steps upon the path, each marked by symbols of the heavens. Some were called ravens, messengers of the mysteries. Some were called lions, fierce in spirit. Others were crowned with signs of the sun, radiant with its light. Each step was both an outer act and an inner journey, a reminder that the soul itself grows in quiet stages, as dawn grows from shadow into day. And in each stage, the brother was never alone. The others stood beside him, sharing the burden, sharing the promise. Brotherhood was not a word, but a living bond. Together they ate, together they prayed, together they lifted their eyes toward the hidden stars painted on the cave walls. The cave itself was more than stone. It was a mirror of the universe. The ceiling, dark and speckled with signs of the zodiac, was like the night sky above. The torch flames flickered like constellations, shifting gently as the air moved. And at the center, Mithras with the bull, the eternal act that gave birth to life itself. In that moment, the cave was not beneath the earth. It was the cosmos itself, a circle of eternity in which each man found his place. The ritual meal was simple. Bread broken, wine poured. It was not the banquet of emperors, but the supper of brothers. Each piece of bread carried a symbol of unity, each cup a reminder of shared life. The taste was plain, but it carried meaning deeper than feasts above ground. In the hush of the cave, this small act bound their spirits closer than iron chains. To follow Mithras was to walk a path of strength, but also of silence. The mysteries were never written, never shared outside. They lived only in memory, in the heart, in the secret chambers below the world. For the empire above might question, might doubt, might disapprove. So the followers of Mithras kept their faith hidden, not from shame, but from reverence. Some truths are too delicate to be scattered on the wind. They must be kept in quiet places, safe, like embers sheltered in the hand. The image of Mithras slaying the bull was not only of struggle. It was also of creation, of renewal. From the sacrifice came growth. From the act of death came the promise of life. It was a reminder that even in hardship, there is a seed of rebirth. Even in loss, a new beginning. Just as the dawn rises from the darkness, so too does hope rise from trial. For the soldiers who followed him, this faith was a lantern. On long roads, across cold rivers, beneath skies filled with stars, the name of Mithras was whispered like a comfort. When the body was weary and the spirit heavy, they remembered the cave, the torches, the bread, the brotherhood. And in that memory, they found strength. Imagine now the quiet after the ritual. The torches burn lower, their flames swaying gently, as if breathing with the men. The stone walls hold the warmth of the gathering. Voices fade into silence. Only the soft crackle of the fire remains, steady as a heartbeat. One by one, the men close their eyes, not in sleep but in prayer, sinking into a peace deeper than words. Above them, Rome continues in its endless rhythm, streets alive with footsteps, markets with voices, temples with offerings. But here beneath the earth, there is only stillness. A stillness where faith glows like hidden fire. The mysteries of Mithras may have been bound in secrecy, but their heart was simple. Brotherhood, strength, the light of dawn breaking through the dark. These things live not only in caves, not only in rituals, but in every heart that seeks them. The symbols may fade, the temples may fall, the caves may fill with dust, but the spirit of the sun god endures in memory, in story, in the quiet hope that light always returns. Now the cave grows still. The torches fade to embers. The brothers rise, their steps soft upon the stone floor. They leave as they enter, in silence, each carrying the secret flame within. Above them the stars shine. The night air is cool, carrying the scent of pine and earth. The city sleeps, unaware of the mysteries hidden below. But the sun god watches. Beyond the clouds, beyond the stars, his light waits for the dawn. And when morning comes, he will rise again, bathing the empire in warmth, steady and eternal. So let the listener drift with this thought, that even in hidden places, light endures. Even in silence, bonds are formed. Even in the deepest cave, the promise of dawn glows softly. Now close the doors of the cave in the mind. Let the torches fade, let the stone walls dissolve into shadow. The night sky stretches wide, calm and endless. The stars return, steady as breath, timeless as the soul. Let us drift onward, carried by the hush of ancient prayers. Let the heart rest in the glow of hidden fires. Now rest as the sun god waits, and the dawn comes softly once more. Night rests over the empire. The marble pillars of Rome glimmer faintly in moonlight, and the hush of evening folds across the streets like a silken veil. The Tiber flows softly, carrying whispers of distant lands. Its waters gleam like silver threads, winding through the heart of the city. But in the stillness, another river seems to flow, unseen yet near. It is the Nile, far away in Egypt, yet alive in memory, alive in spirit. For in Rome, temples have been built to honor a foreign mother, a goddess of gentle power, whose voice once rose from the banks of the Nile. Her name is Isis. The temple of Isis rises quietly among Roman stones. By day, its doors welcome seekers, travelers, and those who long for her embrace. By night, it seems to breathe with mystery, its walls holding the pulse of another world. Lotus flowers are carved into its pillars, their petals opening like stars. The scent of incense drifts through the dark, sweet and heavy, mingling with the cool Roman air. Step within, and the world changes. Torches cast their glow upon walls painted with flowing rivers, with boats that carry the dead to eternal shores, with the bright crown of Isis resting upon her brow. The marble floor reflects the flame, turning each step into a ripple of light. And at the heart of the chamber her statue stands, serene and timeless. Isis, the mother of life. Her arms are open, her gaze calm. She is both near and far, both woman and eternity. To her followers she is healer, guide, protector of the lost. She is the voice that rises in the hush of night, the voice that soothes storms, the voice that comforts the grieving heart. Her story drifts across ages like a gentle tide. She was the wife of Osiris, the god of the green earth, the king of the dead. When he was slain and scattered, she searched with tireless devotion. Piece by piece, she gathered him again, and through her breath, through her love, life returned. From her womb came Horus, the falcon child, who carried the sun in his wings. And so Isis was remembered not only as mother, but as the very power of love that restores what is broken, the soft strength that gathers what is lost. This was the voice that called across deserts, across seas, until it found its way to Rome. The rites of Isis begin at dawn, but in memory they unfold gently like a dream. The temple doors open and the sound of sistrums, a metal rattle soft and silver, fills the air. It is not loud but delicate like rain upon stone. Priests in white robes walk slowly, their steps in rhythm, carrying offerings of flowers, milk, and honey. They chant her names, each word rising and falling like waves upon the Nile. The air grows fragrant with incense, a sweetness that clings to breath. A sacred boat is brought forth, its small frame gilded, its sails adorned with stars. It is set upon wheels, drawn across the courtyard as though sailing upon the Tiber. The people watch, some in silence, some in tears, for they believe the goddess travels in this moment, crossing from the hidden world to walk among them. To stand before Isis was to feel both child and comforted. Her presence was vast, yet tender. Her voice, though never heard aloud, seemed to echo within the heart. It said, "You are not lost, you are not forgotten, you are held even in sorrow." The Romans who came to her temple found something more than ritual. They found gentleness in a world of sharp edges. They found solace when life grew heavy. Merchants prayed for safe passage on the sea. Mothers prayed for their children. The lonely prayed for comfort in the night. And Isis answered not in thunder, not in command, but in whispers, in signs, in dreams. Her love was the quiet kind, the kind that does not shout but stays near. Like the Nile, her devotion flowed endlessly, nourishing fields, nourishing souls. Imagine now a worshiper standing at the river's edge. The Tiber glimmers beneath the Roman sky, but in the mind it becomes the Nile. Palm trees rise in shadow. Water birds stir among the reeds. The sound of the river is soft, steady, like a mother's breath. The worshiper closes their eyes and feels both rivers at once, as if the two worlds have joined. Rome and Egypt, stone and sand, Tiber and Nile. In spirit, they are one. There were festivals too, grand and luminous. The Navigium as cities, the sailing of Isis' boat, marked the renewal of spring. On that day, the people filled the streets in procession. They carried garlands of flowers, they wore crowns of leaves, they sang to the goddess of life. A boat gleaming with paint and gold was carried to the river. Prayers were offered, and the boat was set upon the water. It floated gently, like a dream carried by the current, a promise that safe journeys lay ahead. For those who watched, it was not only the boat that traveled. It was their own hopes, their own prayers, drifting into the care of the goddess. The river bore them away, but not into loss, into blessing, into protection. Some feared her presence. Some in Rome worried that her rites were foreign, her voice too strong for Roman hearts. There were days when her temples were closed, her statues veiled, her followers scattered. But like the Nile, Isis could not be held back. Her waters returned, her voice returned. And again her temples opened, again her worshippers sang her name, again her shadow stretched across the city. For love cannot be banished. It waits, it flows, it returns again and again, like a river to the sea. Her mysteries touched not only the poor, but the wealthy, not only women, but men, not only Egyptians, but Romans too. She was the universal mother, the one who embraced all without boundary. Her arms were wide enough for every soul. Her gaze was soft enough to soothe every wound. In her the people saw more than Egypt, more than Rome. They saw the eternal bond that ties life to life, heart to heart, shore to shore. The Nile and the Tiber may be distant rivers, but in Isis they met as one. Now imagine the temple at night, after the chants have faded. The torches burn low. The stone walls glow softly in the last light of flame. The statue of Isis stands serene, her shadow tall against the wall. The air is hushed, as if listening. Outside, the Tiber flows, steady and endless. And somewhere far away, the Nile does the same. The goddess waits, silent yet present. Her love does not sleep. It watches, it comforts, it endures. For the listener now, let this image linger. A temple quiet in the night. Two rivers flowing as one. a goddess whose voice is not sound, but feeling, soft as breath, steady as the stars. Let it remind the heart that there is always a place of comfort, always a mother's embrace, always a river of life flowing unseen. So rest now as the torches fade. Rest as the rivers join in stillness. Rest as Isis whispers across the ages, across the waters, across the silence of the night. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return, and the Mother of Life holds all things close once more. Night gathers softly over ancient Rome. The last warmth of the sun drifts away, leaving the city bathed in a tender glow of silver light. Shadows stretch across marble steps. Where sandals once echoed and voices once rose, the air grows cooler. The hum of the city quiets, replaced by the hush of wind between columns and the faint song of distant fountains. In this stillness, temples stand side by side. Some built for the old gods of Rome, Jupiter, Mars, and Venus. Others shaped for new voices, for Isis of Egypt, for Mithras of Persia, for unseen powers whispered from faraway lands. Stones rise together, yet their stories differ. Like many rivers flowing into one sea, faiths touched one another, sometimes with harmony, sometimes with strain. Breathe slowly now, as we drift into this chapter of sacred conflict and harmony. In the heart of the city, the great forum lies open beneath the stars. Statues gleam in moonlight, proud faces carved in stillness. Yet even among these pillars of tradition, whispers of change move like a quiet wind. Soldiers returning from distant campaigns bring tales of gods unknown to Rome. Merchants, carrying silks and spices, speak of prayers sung in foreign tongues. Slaves, once strangers, kneel in corners to honor the spirits of their homelands. And so Rome becomes a mosaic, each stone different, each color unique, yet joined in one design. Conflict stirs, gentle but steady, as guardians of the old ways seek to hold their ground. They cling to Jupiter, to the father of thunder, to Vesta, whose eternal flame guards the hearth. Yet the hearts of many begin to wander, curious about mysteries that promise deeper light, softer touch, a more personal bond. Still, harmony also finds a place. Some see not division, but union. A goddess of the Nile may be sister to a goddess of Rome. A soldier's god of strength may walk beside Mars, not against him. The world's faiths begin to mirror the empire itself, vast, diverse, stretching across seas and mountains. Close your eyes and imagine a quiet street by torchlight. A small temple glows at the edge of the Tiber. It is not grand, not carved in gold, but inside the air is warm with incense. A group gathers, hands raised toward a figure of Isis. Her crown shaped like the moon, her robes flowing like the river. They whisper songs of life, of rebirth, of her arms that cradle all who seek comfort. Outside, a passerby pauses, curious, listening. He does not scorn, he wonders. He feels the pull of her voice, though it is foreign to him. Elsewhere in a hidden cave, torches flicker as soldiers gather for Mithras. They bow to the god of light, the slayer of darkness, the bringer of strength. Their vows bind them to one another, brothers under stone and flame. Above, the Roman streets are unaware, yet within this secret place, peace grows strong. The old gods watch, silent. The new gods whisper, gentle. Rome listens, caught between memory and longing. Conflict sometimes rose like thunderclouds. Priests of the old temples feared their gods might be forgotten. Senators muttered that foreign rites could weaken Roman spirit. Edicts were written, stones carved with warnings, voices lifted in defense of tradition. Yet harmony also shone, like sunlight through broken clouds. For in moments of gathering, people found echoes of one another. A Roman mother praying to Venus for her child might see her neighbor pray to Isis for the same blessing. Different words, different statues, but the same hope, the same love. And so, sacred conflict became sacred weaving. Threads pulled tight in tension, yet joined to form a wider cloth. Imagine the great Colosseum at night, empty now, silent beneath the stars. Its arches stand like the ribs of some giant beast, but within only wind moves. Here, prayers once rose for victory, for strength, for gods to bless the brave. Some prayed to Jupiter, others quietly to Christ. Some called on Mithras, others on ancient spirits from far lands. Even in this place of noise and blood, hearts whispered together to the heavens. Now listen to the hush of the Tiber flowing. Water reflects moonlight, carrying whispers from both near and far. The Nile's voice drifts into Rome, the Euphrates sings low, the Aegean hums gently. Rivers meet as faiths meet, blending without losing themselves. Harmony in motion. In the Palatine Hill, old fires of Vesta flicker. Virgins guard the flame, believing it keeps Rome alive. Across the city, lamps burn in secret shrines of Isis. Each flame, though separate, is still fire. Each light warms, each light guides. Here lies the secret of Rome's sacred conflict. It was not always a battle. Often, it was a slow embrace. A god of war learned to stand beside a god of peace. A goddess of the harvest listened to the whispers of a goddess of the sea. Some hearts fought, but many hearts blended. Drift now into a garden at twilight. Olive trees stretch upward, their leaves silver beneath the moon. Between them stands a small altar, plain and simple. Upon it lies fruit, bread, and wine. A Roman father bows, offering thanks to the Lares, the spirits of his household. He feels their nearness, their guardianship. At the same time, in another home, a woman lights a lamp to Isis, asking for health, for blessing, for comfort in sorrow. Their prayers rise together, twinning in the soft night air, carried upward like smoke. Different paths, but the same longing. Different words, but the same breath. Sacred conflict and harmony, both dwelling in Rome's heart. One pulled, one soothed. One resisted, one welcomed. Like day and night circling the same earth, neither fully left, neither fully ruled. Together, they shaped the spirit of the people. Even as time carried Rome forward, these voices lingered. Some gods faded, some endured, but the harmony they wove remained, hidden in memory, echoing like a soft hymn across ages. Now let the scene fade. The temples grow dim, their torches sinking into embers. The rivers still flow, though their voices quiet. Stars return above the city, vast and gentle. The air cools, the stones rest. Sacred conflict softens into silence. Sacred harmony glows in the stillness. All is calm, all is joined. Let us drift onward now, deeper into the night, deeper into rest. The gods stand watch. The rivers flow, the stars above remember. Sleep gently as Rome's heart finds its balance. Sleep gently as harmony returns to you. The night is deep, and the stars drift slowly across the Roman sky. Moonlight spills over rooftops, soft as silver dust upon the stones. The air is cool, carrying the faint breath of cypress trees and the distant murmur of water flowing in aqueducts. Rome sleeps, yet its past still stirs, whispering of moments when faith and fear met in shadows. Breathe softly now, for this story unfolds like a slow river. It tells of Bacchus, the god of wine, of freedom, of joy beyond measure. It tells of those who followed him, who danced beneath the torchlight, who sang beneath the vines, and who found in him a release from sorrow. And it tells of how Rome, loving order above all, grew fearful of this freedom, fearful of voices too wild, too unbound. Long before Rome spread its empire across seas and mountains, the worship of Bacchus, or Dionysus, as the Greeks once called him, had already traveled the lands. He was the god of the grapevine, the spirit of the harvest turned into wine. But more than this, he was the god of release. His touch brought laughter to heavy hearts. His music lifted chains of worry. His festivals promised more than drink. They promised a taste of life unbound, life as spirit, free of walls and burdens. In secret groves and quiet caves, men and women gathered to honor him. They crowned themselves with ivy. They poured wine upon the earth. They danced in circles until night dissolved into dawn. Theirs was a faith of song, of movement, of surrender. For some it was salvation. For others, it was a danger too great. In Rome, the Bacchic rites arrived quietly at first. Whispers moved among the poor, the forgotten, the restless. Here was a god who welcomed all, no matter rank or birth. Here was a god who gave both soldier and servant a chance to let go, to feel joy beyond duty. The rites grew like ivy itself, spreading in shadows where eyes could not easily see. But Rome was a city of order. Its temples were steady, its priests chosen, its rituals carefully measured by law. Every offering had a time, every flame a keeper. Bacchus, however, invited all into his circle, the noble and the slave, the woman and the man, the young and the weary. His songs blurred the lines Rome sought to keep sharp. And so, whispers of freedom became whispers of danger. Imagine the Senate, gathered in marble halls. Torches glow against stone, shadows trembling upon stern faces. Word has spread of nightly gatherings, of songs rising wild, of processions hidden deep in groves. Some say there is excess, that wine flows without end. Others fear secrets spoken in the dark, oaths unknown, bonds outside the city's law. Fear grows heavy in the chamber, heavier than the smoke curling from lamps. And so decrees are written. The Bacchic rites are to be broken. Temples to Bacchus are closed. Followers are scattered. Rome's order must remain unshaken. Picture now the silence of a grove, once alive with song. The grass is damp with dew. The altar, once dressed in ivy, stands bare. No voices rise, no drums sound. Only the sigh of wind through branches, only the hush of birds waiting for dawn. But memory lingers. Those who danced remember the taste of freedom, the warmth of belonging. Though the decree is strong, though the Senate's words are carved in stone, the heart cannot forget. In hidden corners, small gatherings continue. A single cup of wine shared. A single hymn sung softly, too soft for guards to hear. The god of release is not so easily banished. For Bacchus is not only in the temples. He is in the grape ripening on the vine. He is in the laughter of friends by firelight. He is in the relief of burdens set down, even for a moment. No decree can silence the river of joy that flows beneath the surface of life. And so, though the followers were scattered, though some hid their rites and others ceased them, the spirit of Bacchus lingered like perfume in the air. Subtle, unseen, yet never gone. Close your eyes and imagine a hillside at dusk. The vineyard stretches wide, its leaves glowing green beneath the fatting sun. A worker pauses, his hands stained with harvest. He lifts a cluster of grapes, rich and heavy. For a moment, he remembers the old songs, the ones sung beneath the moon. He whispers a name, Bacchus. The memory is soft, yet alive. Far away in another village, a woman lights a lamp. She pours a small cup of wine, not for herself, but for the god who once filled her nights with dance. She sets it by her window, where moonlight may touch it. It is enough. The spirit remains. Rome feared excess, feared the crumbling of order. Yet what it sought to erase could not be erased. The songs of Bacchus sank deep into the earth, like roots winding unseen. They waited patient for another season to rise. For every joy suppressed will one day return. Every song silenced will one day be sung again. Every flame hidden will one day shine in the open air. And Bacchus, the wandering god, knew this truth well. He was never only of temples. He was of the wild hills, of the flowing rivers, of the human heart itself. How can such a spirit ever fade? Now let the story soften. The decrees lie quiet, the senators long gone. The stones of their halls remain, but the echoes of their fear are only whispers. What remains instead is gentler. The memory of ivy crowns, the rhythm of drums beneath the stars, the warmth of wine shared in friendship. the songs of Bacchus never truly faded. They became hidden threads, woven into later stories, carried forward across time. Through laughter, through music, through every place where joy finds its home, his spirit walks still. Let the night deepen once more. The city sleeps. The vineyards dream beneath the moon. Somewhere unseen, a soft song hums on the wind, faint as a sigh, yet alive. It is the song of Bacchus, the god who could not be silenced. Rest now as the story closes. Rest as the shadows lengthen and the stars return. The decrees have ended, the fear has passed, but the joy remains. Drift onward, gentle soul. The songs are still there, waiting in the quiet. Now rest as the earth holds you, and the night carries you into peace. The night is still, and the stars are slow in their turning. Above the ancient city, the heavens stretch vast and quiet, a silver canopy woven with countless lights. Faint winds move through colonnades, carrying whispers of incense burned long ago. The marble streets lie calm, bathed in moonlight, as if Rome itself has fallen into a deep dream. It is within such a dream that this chapter unfolds. A dream of seekers, of mysteries hidden in shadowed halls, of voices chanting not to the gods of stone and law, but to gods who promise something gentler, something eternal. Rome was a city of power. Temples rose high, their steps wide and guarded. Every offering had a place, every ritual was known to all. Yet beyond the grandeur of Jupiter's temple, beyond the ordered rites of Mars and Juno, there stirred another hunger. A quieter one. A longing that reached not for victory, nor for wealth, but for peace that endured beyond death. Men and women, weary of wars and endless decrees, began to seek something deeper. They looked for gods who did not only rule empires, but who cared for the soul itself. And so the mystery religions grew. They were called mysteries not for riddles, but for the silence they demanded. Their rites were secret, shared only with those who entered. They asked for vows of quiet, for faith kept close to the heart. Within these hidden gatherings, seekers whispered prayers not only for life, but for what lay beyond life's shadow. The promise was simple, yet profound. Where the old gods blessed harvest and battle, the mystery gods promised rest eternal. They spoke of journeys after death, of renewal, of the soul's safe passage through the unseen. This was a hope that spread like fire through the tired hearts of Rome. Picture now a torchlit chamber, carved beneath the earth. The ceiling low, the walls cool with stone. At the center, a flame burns steady, casting soft light upon a circle of faces. Eyes closed, hands folded, they chant together, their voices weaving like gentle waves. Perhaps it is the worship of Isis, the mother whose embrace crossed seas and deserts. Perhaps it is the worship of Mithras, the god of soldiers, who bound his followers with vows of loyalty and light. Or perhaps it is the Eleusinian rite, carried from Greece, where Persephone's descent and return spoke of life reborn after death. Each mystery was different, yet all carried the same heartbeat. That death was not the end. That love, loyalty, and light followed the soul beyond the grave. Above, Rome bustled with laws, with markets, with triumphs. But below, in secret halls, the mysteries blossomed like hidden gardens. A merchant might kneel beside a soldier. A noble might stand beside a servant. For in death all were equal, and in hope all were brothers and sisters. It was a quiet revolution of the spirit. No swords were raised, no banners flown. Only candles, only chants, only a silence that held more meaning than words. Imagine a young initiate stepping into such a hall for the first time. The air is heavy with the scent of burning herbs. The torchlight flickers, painting gentle shadows upon carved walls. He feels the hush of those gathered, the weight of mystery pressing tenderly around him. A guide whispers words, not commands, but invitations, to trust, to listen, to believe. He learns of journeys after death, of rivers the soul must cross, of guardians at the gates of night. He learns too of light, a light that waits beyond, a light that welcomes all who have faith. The fears within him soften, replaced by a quiet comfort. Here he is not alone. Here he is part of something eternal. The mysteries spread, carried by merchants on ships, by soldiers marching along Roman roads, by whispers through marketplaces. Though secret, their flame drew many. And though the Senate sometimes watched with wary eyes, the mysteries endured, for they offered what the state could not. Not power, not law, but peace, quiet and eternal. The beauty of these cults was in their symbolism. The stars above were seen as souls who had passed on, shining still in the heavens. The river was no longer only the Tiber, but the passage between worlds. Birds in flight were no longer only creatures of air, but spirits guiding the living toward rest. Every element of nature became a teacher, every image a sign. To eat bread in a rite was to taste the body of life renewed. To drink wine was to sip not only joy, but eternity itself. To descend into darkness was to prepare for death. To rise again into torchlight was to awaken into everlasting life. In such mysteries, Romans found comfort. For empire fades, armies crumble, laws change like the tide. But the soul was promised a journey unending. This promise was like a soft song, sung at the edge of sleep, steady and tender. And so through these hidden paths, Rome itself began to change. Not through conquest, not through decree, but through hope. A hope that whispered gently, carried from heart to heart, that even after the body falls, the spirit continues. Now picture again the chamber, deep below the earth. The chants have ceased. The torches grow dim. One by one, the faithful close their eyes, letting silence wrap around them. The stone walls hold their breath, as if listening to the prayers that linger. In that stillness, in that dark, the mystery shines brightest. For mystery is not confusion, but wonder. It is the unseen hand that cradles the soul. It is the quiet promise that when the stars fade from sight, they are not gone, they are only waiting beyond the veil. Let the night deepen now. The stars wheel gently overhead. Rome sleeps, and within her sleep, countless souls dream of eternity. Some dream of Isis, arms open wide. Some dream of Mithras, light breaking darkness. Some dream of Persephone, rising once more from the underworld's shadow. Each dream is different, yet each dream is the same. For all are carried by the same longing. That death is not an end, but a passage. That love is not lost, but transformed. That peace is not fleeting, but forever. The mysteries rose with this dawn, not in the brightness of public temples, but in the soft glow of hidden torches. And though centuries have passed, their whispers remain. They remain in the hope that hearts still hold. They remain in the way we gaze at stars, in the way rivers speak to us, in the way silence feels alive with presence. So let this chapter close gently. Let the torches dim, the chants dissolve, the silence deepen. The mysteries are not gone. They are only quiet, waiting, like a soft dream within the night. Rest now, traveler of stories. Let your breath slow, your heart soften, your mind grow light. The mysteries cradle you as they once cradled Rome. Let us drift onward, carried by their promise. Now rest as the stars return, and the eternal night becomes your peace. The night is gentle. A hush spreads across the streets of Rome. Shadows gather in corners, quiet and untroubled. The air is cool, like water flowing over smooth stones. Above, the moon hangs steady, a lantern to guide hidden paths. It is in such nights that small stories are born, soft as whispers. Within narrow alleys and simple rooms, lamps burn low. Their light is faint, yet steady, like the heart of a flame that refuses to die. Here, men and women sit together, not in temples of marble, but in quiet corners. They share bread. They share words. They share hope. A new voice has begun to rise among them. It does not speak of power or conquest. It speaks of love that suffers, of kindness that endures. It speaks of one God, unseen yet felt. Not a God of empire, but a God who bends low to heal. The people listen. Some come weary from labor, their hands calloused and heavy. Some come grieving, carrying silence where laughter once lived. Some come searching, hearts restless as waves upon a shore. And here in the glow of hidden lamps, they hear of a shepherd who seeks the lost, a teacher who blesses the poor, a healer who touches the broken, a savior who gives life by giving his own. The story moves gently, like water poured into thirsty ground. It does not shout. It does not strike. It simply grows. In the stillness, prayers rise. Not grand, not loud. Only soft words, spoken with folded hands and lowered eyes. Peace, they whisper. Forgive, they murmur. Guide us. Candles flicker. The scent of oil lingers in the air. Outside, the city stirs with its endless business. Markets, baths, theaters, guards. But within these hidden walls, another world unfolds. A world where strength is found not in armies, but in gentleness. Where glory is not in crowns, but in sacrifice. Many fear these gatherings. The empire whispers of rebellion, of danger. But the truth is quieter than rumor. These people do not plot war. They kneel. They sing. They break bread. They remember a man who carried a cross upon his back. And they believe he carries them still. The flame is fragile. At times it bends low, threatened by winds of suspicion. Yet it does not vanish. Even when some are taken, even when chains close around wrists, the light remains. For every prayer silenced, another prayer is born. For every heart broken, another heart is opened. The rise is not swift. It is slow, like dawn creeping over hills. First a faint blush of light, then a shimmer upon clouds, then a gentle glow that cannot be stopped. So too does this faith spread. House by house, whisper by whisper, heart by heart. Imagine the streets of Rome, paved and wide, echoing with carts and sandals. Among the noise, no one notices the quiet footsteps of those who gather in secret. Yet in their silence, they carry seeds of something vast. Seeds of compassion, of mercy, of grace. Seeds that will one day grow into forests of belief, shading kingdoms and nations. In the hidden chambers, children sit close to their mothers. They hear words of a kingdom not built by stone, but by love. They hear of a table where all are welcome, rich and poor, free and bound, stranger and friend. Such stories shape them, like soft hands shaping clay. Their dreams fill with gentle promises. Their sleep rests upon hope. Some nights they remember the one they call Christ. How he walked among fishermen. How he blessed children who ran to him. How he lifted the broken from dust. How he was taken, and how he gave himself freely. They speak of his rising, like morning after long night. And in their eyes, light gathers steady and clear. The empire may not see. It may pass laws, send guard, raise voices against them. But beneath the surface, faith flows like an underground river. Silent, hidden, persistent. Rivers carve valleys over time. So too does this faith carve paths through history. Not by force, but by gentle endurance. Not by sword, but by song. Not by throne, but by table and bread. The gatherings end quietly. Candles are pinched, leaving trails of smoke curling into the air. Sandals slip softly against stone. Doors close. The night holds their secret safe. Above, the stars look down, watching as they always have. Stars that once shone over shepherds in distant fields. Stars that still shine over the alleys of Rome. Each star a reminder, light may be small, but light endures. The city rests. The lamps fade. But somewhere in a quiet room, a prayer lingers, soft as a lullaby. It drifts upward, past the rooftops, past the clouds, into the vastness of night. And so the story of this rising faith is not one of sudden flame. It is one of embers, glowing steady, spreading warmth into the cold. One by one, hearts are touched. One by one, lives are changed. Not all at once, but slowly, gently, like dawn. The listener may rest now. Feel the hush of candlelight. Feel the safety of hidden walls. Feel the peace of prayers rising like soft smoke. For the world turns, and still the flame glows. Small, steady, unafraid. The silent rise of a faith that begins not with shouts, but with whispers. Not with war, but with love. Now let us drift onward. Let the hidden rooms fade into starlight. Let the prayers become gentle dreams. Now rest as the stars return, and the flame of faith glows quietly in the night. Night folds gently over the empire. The marble pillars of Rome stand tall, silvered by moonlight. The streets, once alive with voices and footsteps, now lie quiet. Only the soft echo of distant water in fountains lingers. The city breathes in silence, and the stars above look down, patient and eternal. In this stillness, another story comes alive. The story of rulers who are more than rulers. Men who walked upon the earth, yet were lifted to the heavens. Emperors carved into stone in memory, who were called divine. Temples rise in their honor. Steps polished by countless feet. Columns tall as trees, carrying the weight of sky and prayer. Inside, statues gleam in the glow of torches. Bronze and marble faces, serene and unchanging, look outward with calm authority. Incense drifts upward, curling like threads of smoke toward the ceiling beams. Priests move slowly, their robes whispering across stone. They lift bowls of offering, pour wine, and place wreaths of laurel. They whisper names not only of Jupiter or Mars, but of emperors now gone. Augustus, Claudius, Hadrian. Their names are spoken as though they linger in the air, watching still. The people bow. Some believe with trembling hearts. Others bow because order asks it. But all in the hush of temples feel the weight of the empire pressed close, like a great hand resting gently upon their lives. The idea is simple, yet vast. If gods are far, beyond clouds and constellations, then emperors stand nearer, as bridges between heaven and earth. Their voices pass into laws. Their faces gaze from coins, carried in pockets, touched by countless hands. Their names are sworn in oaths. Their shadows fall upon festivals. Their birthdays shine with light, like stars added to the heavens. And so the empire weaves ruler and god together, threading power with holiness, tying the crown of laurel to the fire of eternity. In the marketplaces, statues stand, their marble robes draped in folds of frozen grace. Children pass, gazing upward at faces they will never meet. Merchants pause, touching the stone, whispering quiet words for fortune and trade. Soldiers salute as they walk past, hearts steady with loyalty. To see an emperor's likeness is to remember the empire's strength. To whisper his name in prayer is to feel bound into something greater. The living and the divine blur, until the line is soft, until the man becomes more than man. Some emperors embraced this light. They stood proudly, draped in purple, accepting songs and sacrifices. Others wore it softly, as a cloak too heavy, too grand for mortal shoulders. But whether desired or not, The mantle was placed upon them, woven of faith, tradition, and the empire's breath. When an emperor died, his body was lifted high upon a pyre. Flames rose, crackling, sending sparks into the sky. The people watched in silence, believing his spirit climbed with the smoke, rising toward the stars. And so he was spoken of as divine, his soul seated in the heavens, his memory eternal. Picture the night of such a rite. The sky deep, the air cool. The crowd gathered with torches in hand. The fire sways, gold against blackness. Priests chant in slow rhythm, their voices low as thunder far away. And above, constellations seem to bend, as if welcoming a new star among them. The people return home afterward. Some feel awe, some feel doubt, yet all feel the unity of being bound together in belief. Their lives joined beneath the presence of their emperor-turned God. Coins carry his face, altars hold his name, poets write verses, sculptors shape likeness after likeness, until his image fills the empire like the sun, shining in every city, known to every traveler, to the fisherman by the shore, to the farmer in distant fields, to the mother holding her child at dusk. The emperor is present, not only as ruler, but as one who stands beneath heaven's gaze. Yet even in this grandeur, the night is soft. The empire sleeps. Children dream. Stars watch. And somewhere in the hush of prayer, someone whispers not to Jupiter, nor to Mars, but to Augustus, to Hadrian, to Caesar divine. Their words drift upward, as gentle as smoke from an oil lamp. The emperors as gods tell a story of yearning, a yearning for closeness with the divine, a longing to see heaven made flesh, to touch eternity through the presence of a leader. The people looked to marble faces and burning fires, and whispered to rulers who had walked among them. It is the human dream, to bridge the vast distance between earth and sky, to believe that power and divinity can meet in human form. And so the empire moved forward, carrying this belief like a lamp in the night. Through festivals, through altars, through whispered prayers, the emperors stood as both men and gods, as both dust and star. Their temples still rise, their statues still stand, silent now, but still crowned with the weight of memory. The night deepens, the stars burn steady, the marble gleams faint beneath the moon. The prayers of ages past linger, soft as echoes on the breeze. Let the listener rest now. Let the faces of emperors fade into gentle starlight. Let the smoke of old offerings curl away into dreams. For the empire sleeps, and the heavens remain, enduring and kind. Now rest, as the stars return, and drift onward, into the quiet, where marble and memory meet. Twilight settles over the city of Rome. The day's bustle has stilled. Shadows stretch long across stone streets, and the last warmth of the sun fades into the quiet arms of night. The temples rise in this fading light. Columns tall and worn reach upward. Their marble no longer gleams as it once did, but carries the gentle marks of centuries, like wrinkles upon an ancient face. Birds rest upon rooftops. Their calls soften into silence. The evening air grows cool, and the temples stand as hushed guardians of memory. Inside some temples, the fires still burn, faint flickering like tired stars. The scent of incense drifts upward in delicate threads, carrying prayers that have been whispered for ages. The walls remember these voices, though the worshippers grow fewer. Their steps lighter upon the stone floors. Statues stand in shadows, Gods once bright with fresh paint and gilded crowns, now bear the soft wear of time. Noses chipped, arms broken, colors faded. Yet their eyes, carved in calm stillness, still gaze outward, as if guarding the last embers of devotion. The people have changed. Their prayers are quieter now, their hearts drawn to new faiths, new stories, new hopes. But the old temples remain, like sleeping giants. They do not vanish at once. They linger half forgotten, still warmed by the breath of those who remember. Imagine walking at dusk along the Tiber. The river glimmers, carrying away the day's last light. Across the water, the outlines of temples rise, their forms softened by distance, their reflection trembling in the gentle current. They seem like dreams upon the water, not gone, not fully present, but caught between worlds. In the countryside, too, the temples stand, some hidden among fields of grain, some at the edges of quiet groves. Farmers pass them with respectful nods, placing small offerings of fruit, even when the great priests no longer come. For to leave a gift, to whisper a word, is to honor not just gods, but memory itself. Children play near these ruins. They run between broken pillars, their laughter echoing where chants once rose. They chase each other across worn steps, their games weaving life into places that slumber. The gods, if they listen, may smile at this, for joy is also a form of offering. The twilight deepens. Lanterns are lit in houses, but the temples remain dark. Only moonlight touches their stone faces. Only the wind moves within their open courts. The silence is not emptiness. It is a kind of rest, a long breath drawn by time. Some say the gods sleep here, not gone but resting, their presence folded like seeds beneath the soil. Others believe the stones themselves hold spirit, that each column is a memory, each carving a prayer, each shadow a whisper. And so the temples become more than buildings. They become stories in stone. They hold the shape of devotion. They carry the weight of centuries, even when voices no longer rise. The silence itself speaks. In the great city, some temples are turned to new uses. Walls are reshaped, roofs repaired. New prayers replace old ones. The stones serve again, their strength offered to whatever faith calls. The old gods watch quietly, sharing their homes, letting the flow of belief move forward like a river. Other temples fall into ruin. Their roofs collapse. Their altars crumble. Vines creep across steps. Moss spreads upon walls. And yet in their ruin, they grow beautiful again. Half nature, half memory. A mingling of stone and earth, of human hand and timeless forest. Travelers passing through stop to rest in their shade. They drink from nearby springs. They sit in silence among fallen blocks. Some feel a hush, a gentle weight upon the heart, as if the place itself whispers. It is not a warning. It is not sorrow. It is simply remembrance. As the centuries pass, more temples fade into twilight, but their spirit lingers, in songs and poems, in the shapes of stories retold by firesides. The names of gods are carried in quiet words, their symbols woven into art, their presence alive in ways unseen. The stars above seem to echo this truth, for stars, too, are ancient fires, long faded, yet still shining across distance. Even when the flame has gone out, its light continues. So it is with the temples. So it is with the gods who once dwelt within them. Picture a traveler at night. He wanders into a valley, and there stands a broken temple, bathed in silver moonlight. The roof is gone, but the columns rise like a forest of stone. Owls stir in the rafters. The wind hums through the gaps. He feels no fear. He feels only peace, as if the stones themselves cradle him. Offering rest, he lays down beside the altar, the stars above his blanket, the temple his shelter. In dreams, he sees shapes of gods, gentle, serene, their faces calm like carved statues, their presence steady as night. When he wakes, the dawn has come. The temple glows with new light, its stones kissed by morning sun. He leaves, but carries the memory with him, a quiet gift from the past. The twilight of temples is not an ending. It is a soft fading, like the close of day, like the hush of a candle before sleep. What is remembered does not vanish. It rests, waiting, woven into the earth and sky. The temples remind us that all things move in cycles, rise and fall, light and shadow, worship and silence. But nothing is lost. All becomes part of the great memory of time. The night grows deeper now. The last colors of sunset have vanished. The stars burn quietly, like watchful eyes above. The old temples stand in the starlight, their stones pale and soft, their silence gentle. Let your heart rest as theirs do. Let the weight of centuries ease into calm. Let the twilight of temples guide you into dream. Now rest, as the stars return. Let us drift onward, carried by silence, carried by stone, carried by time. Night falls gently over the Roman camp. The sounds of marching feet have faded. The clatter of shields has grown quiet. Only the soft hum of wind moves across the tents, like a mother's hand brushing the earth. The emperor rests in his chamber. Outside, the soldiers breathe in their sleep. Torches flicker in rows, their light wavering like fragile stars. The air is cool, filled with the scent of river water and dust. The world holds its breath, waiting for morning, waiting for what is to come. Constantine lies with his eyes closed. The day has been heavy, the burden of battle resting on his shoulders. Yet in the quiet, something begins to stir. Not in the camp, not in the earth, but in the deep chamber of his heart. Sleep drifts over him, soft, steady, like a veil of moonlight. And in that sleep, a vision begins to rise. It comes not with noise, not with fire, but with a light so gentle it feels like dawn, spreading silently across his dreams. Before him appears a cross, not carved in stone, not painted by hand, but shining with a quiet brilliance, floating in the twilight of his dream. It glows not as a flame that burns, but as a star that comforts. Its edges are soft, its light pure, its presence calm. Around it, the sky itself seems to hush. The winds pause, the stars bow their heads. The cross stands alone, yet it feels vast, filling the heavens, reaching into his soul. Words arrive, not shouted, but whispered on the breath of eternity. Simple words, steady words. By this sign you shall conquer. He does not wake at once. He lingers in the vision, floating in its glow. The cross does not command him with fear. It does not weigh upon him with burden. It simply rests before him, as though the night itself has become a messenger. And in this silence, his heart finds calm. The worries of battle fade. The noise of soldiers fades. Only the cross remains, like a lighthouse standing in the sea of shadows. When morning comes, the sun rises golden over the camp. Birds call softly from the riverbanks. Dew shines upon the grass. The soldiers stir, stretching their limbs, shaking off the weight of dreams. But Constantine carries something different. His face is still, yet within his eyes rests a light, a memory of night. The vision has marked him, like a star pressed upon his soul. He orders a new symbol to be carried. Not the eagle, not the serpent, not the signs of old gods, but the sign of the cross. It is woven onto banners. It is painted upon shields. It rises above the soldiers, a new star to guide them. The men march beneath it. Their armor shines beneath the sun. The river glitters beside them. The air hums with footsteps, with the steady drum of war. Yet above the noise, the cross glimmers quietly, a reminder of the dream, a promise carried into the day. The battle comes. Shouts echo, swords strike, shields clash. But Constantine fights with the sign before him. The cross gleams above the field, steady as the North Star, calm even in the storm of war. And victory is his. The armies break before him. The river runs with the sound of retreat. The city gates open. The dream has taken shape in daylight. But more than victory, something deeper has begun. The cross is not only a mark of battle, it is a seed, planted in the soil of an empire. It will grow, slowly, quietly, branching into temples, branching into prayers, branching into the lives of countless souls. What was once hidden in shadows, what was once whispered in secret rooms, now steps into the sunlight. The faith of fishermen and shepherds finds its place in the heart of Rome. The stories of bread and wine, of healing hands and gentle words, spread across marble streets and echo beneath vaulted arches. In the years that follow, temples change, altars change. The gods of old still linger in memory, but a new song begins to rise. The cross appears not only in dreams, but carved into stone, painted upon walls, worn upon the hearts of the faithful. It shines in candlelit chapels. It glows in catacombs deep beneath the earth. It rises above basilicas, tall against the sky, always the same shape, simple, steady, a reminder of the vision that once came in sleep. And Constantine himself changes. No longer only a soldier, no longer only an emperor. He becomes a bridge between worlds, between old ways and new, between shadows and light, between the silence of gods who fade and the songs of a faith that grows. The dream remains with him, a gentle flame within. It does not shout. It does not command. It only guides, as the stars guide sailors, as rivers guide wanderers, as dreams guide those who listen. For dreams are not always illusions. Sometimes they are doorways. Sometimes they are lanterns, set upon the path of night. Sometimes they are gifts, offered to the soul when the mind is at rest. Constantine's dream became more than memory. It became the turning of an age. An empire shifted in its sleep, like a great giant rolling toward the light. And the cross, once hidden in shadows, rose into the sky of history, where it still glows today. The night deepens again. The fires of the camp are long gone. The emperor is long gone. The soldiers are long gone. But the dream lingers, like a star that never fades. Close your eyes, and you may still see it. A cross shining in the twilight. Soft, steady, a symbol of hope, a whisper of peace. Let it rest before you. gentle as candlelight, calm as moonlit water, not heavy, not loud, simply present. Now let the dream guide you, as it once guided an emperor. Let the night cradle you, as it once cradled a vision. Let the stars above keep watch, as they once kept watch over Rome. The world grows quiet. Your breath grows slow. The dream remains, soft and eternal. Now rest, as the stars return. Let us drift onward, into silence, into peace, into sleep. The night falls soft upon the stones of Rome. Shadows stretch long across the ruins, and the last light of the sun rests gently upon broken arches. The air is hushed, filled with the scent of dust and olive trees, with the murmur of fountains, still flowing as they have for centuries. The city is quiet now, yet beneath the silence, echoes remain, whispers of prayers once lifted in temples, the faint songs of priests and choirs, the footsteps of emperors and peasants, all fading into the same stillness of time. Rome has always been more than stone. It was not only walls and palaces, not only marble and bronze. It was a breath, a spirit woven into its people, a dream carried through centuries, changing its face, but never losing its soul. The gods of old were honored here. Jupiter with his lightning in hand, Venus radiant as morning light, Mars stern as iron. Their temples once glowed with offerings. Their statues gleamed in gold. They stood as guardians of the city, their presence carved into every pillar. But time moves as a river, and rivers always find new courses. The old gods faded into memory, not destroyed, but carried like stars hidden by dawn. Their names still linger in the stones. Their images sleep in the ruins, like dreams waiting to be remembered. A new voice rose within the city. It began in whispers, in hidden rooms lit only by candles. The prayers of the poor, the songs of those who longed for mercy. It grew slowly, like a flame sheltered in the hands of night. Then it rose to sunlight, standing in basilicas, ringing in church bells, painting the sky with crosses. The old gave way to the new. But even as faith changed, Rome remained, a vessel for spirit, a home for belief. For wars of the sacred were never wars of swords. They were transformations of the soul. Each prayer, whether to the thunder of Jupiter or to the cross of Christ, was born from the same longing, the search for light, the hope of meaning, the quiet wish to be near the divine. Rome did not lose its spirit. It carried it forward. The names changed. The temples shifted. But the yearning was the same, as it has always been for humankind. Walk now through the ruins in twilight. The Colosseum stands in silence. Its arches open like watchful eyes. Grass grows between the stones. Birds nest where once crowds roared. Yet in the hush of evening, you can almost hear the echoes, not of battle, but of hearts beating, of lives that once looked to the heavens. Nearby, broken columns lie in the dust, their carvings weathered, their beauty softened by centuries of rain. Yet touch them, and they are still warm with memory. For the gods once walked here, and the spirit of Rome still lingers. Gentle as a dream, the eternal city became a tapestry of faiths, every thread woven with care, every color blending with the next. No single thread tells the whole story. It is together that they shine. The gods of marble, the saints of painted glass, the emperors whose faces were carved in stone, the dreamers who prayed in shadows. All are part of the same vast cloth, woven across centuries, woven across hearts. Rome was not only eternal in empire, but eternal in spirit, for spirit never dies. Even now, when the moonlight falls upon the Tiber's quiet waters, the river remembers. It has seen the offerings thrown upon its waves. It has carried the songs of priests and the whispers of wanderers. It has mirrored the glow of temples and the crosses of churches. It flows still, like time itself, bearing the memory of every prayer. The listener, too, drifts within this river. As you close your eyes, you may feel it carrying you, gently, without hurry. Each ripple is a century. Each current is a story. The old gods drift beside you, their faces calm as statues. The saints drift beside you, their hands folded in blessing. All together, all in silence, all part of the same eternal flow. Rome teaches this, that nothing truly ends. The stones may fall, the fires may fade, but the spirit endures. It changes its song, yet the melody remains. The longing of the soul is the same in every age. To know, to love, to rest in something greater. So the ruins are not graves. They are doorways. Every broken arch is a reminder that faith does not die. It only transforms. Every temple in twilight becomes a whisper to the stars. Every church bell is an echo of ancient hymns. Every prayer, whether spoken or silent, is part of the same eternal Rome. Now the night deepens. The city grows quiet again. The streets rest beneath the moon. The ruins dream in silver light. The old gods sleep. The new faith sings. And together they hold the same truth. Gentle as a heartbeat. Steady as the stars. Close your eyes and let the eternal city hold you. Walk its roads in your dreams. Sit beside its fountains. Rest beneath its arches. Feel the presence of centuries, like a blanket around your shoulders. Rome is eternal, and so is spirit. Neither can be broken. Both live on, not in battles, but in hearts, not in victories, but in dreams. Now let us drift onward. Let the ruins fade into starlight. Let the river carry us gently into silence. Let the eternal city rest, its spirit rising like a candle in the night. Now rest, as the stars return. The story is complete. The song continues. And you, dreamer, are part of it too.